These guys are ridiculous. These guys are ridiculous.
Now, how about them damn Celtics?
And we are back with another How About Them Celtics video. Sam and I are here recording Sunday, February 25th, and Sam brought me this video idea, which is shocking because it's coming from the guy who is very critical of Jayson Tatum, which you are, and I get it, respect.
And I'm
I try
fair.
to play both sides.
Nothing if not fair.
Well, usually. There has been a lot of, should we call it Tatum slander on the timeline?
A lot of crying.
I suppose.
Before we get into it, you leave a like, subscribe, say what's popping.
Please do all three of those things. It worked on our latest podcast. We asked you guys to comment what's poppin' for a chance to win a $10 Incognito gift card. You did it.
So the giveaway's back.
Comment what's poppin'. We asked you to leave a like on the video because it helps us out and it's free for you. You did it. We appreciate it. Subscribing is also free, so please do it. We'd appreciate it. That ends the shill portion of the podcast.
What we don't appreciate,
Jayson Tatum,
the fucking Neanderthal Mongoloid people on Twitter hammering away at their keyboard with tears streaming down their face, crying about Jayson Tatum being recognized for being an MVP level player. Now, do I think that Tatum is this year's MVP? Probably not. And I'm not going to be, I really don't care if he wins it or not. But there are a lot of people online that do care. And all they've been saying and clamoring about is Jayson Tatum has had nothing but good teams since he's come into the NBA. Is that his fault? Should he apologize? Should he release a statement, notes app on Twitter? The unbelievable amount of just whining that I have seen about Tatum. Unbelievable. You've pulled one up. It reads, Tatum, so spoiled, man. Never had to sit through a rebuild. Never had to be in the trenches. Just playoff appearances in stacked teams since he was drafted. Now, this is, do we know what team this person supports?
No, but we can find out. Raptors.
Well, sometimes you're just going to be bitter. You know? Is this Tatum's fault?
My thing is, I saw a reply that said, brother, he was the rebuild. He's just
he
good.
Was
like he was the whole, and also for what it's worth, never had to sit the rebuild, never had to be in the trenches, just playoff appearances. The first year the Celtics made the Eastern Conference Finals, their two quote unquote best players were hurt, and he just played well enough to get them to the conference finals. How is Tatum going to be knocked for that? That doesn't make any semblance of sense. And first of all, obviously we're both biased, but the discourse has gotten past the level of our Celtics bias into the level of what the fuck are you guys talking about? And that's why we're doing the video on it. Because like it's obscene at this point. Like spoiled. Maybe the Celtics just did a really good job of building good teams. Why should he be knocked for that? Just because the organization has done a phenomenal job of surrounding their best player with talent doesn't mean Tatum should be docked. There's another one. Let me find it. There's another one where it was, let's see. It was
to your point. Okay, go ahead.
I saw you retweet this one because I did the same. If Luka had 1 point at the half, Mavs would be losing by 20 to 30. You know what this reads? The Celtics did a better job of building around their superstar than the Mavericks did. That's all this says. That is all this says.
Not for nothing. This one really pissed me off and was the reason I started tweeting this morning. Okay. If Luka had 1 point at the half, the Mavs would be losing by 20 to 30. That might be true. And it might not only be the front office's fault. It may have something to do with the fact that Luka has every single thing that the team does run through him. I don't know if that's by choice. I'm sure the coaching staff has plenty to do with that. But the Mavericks are not putting a real offense on the floor, so teams are able to slow it down easier. And if you're one guy that can play, all of a sudden isn't doing anything, these other guys aren't accustomed to actually showing up. If we're going to cry about super teams, you can't cry about Luka not having players when three of his teammates that have been held in high regard have been Tatum teammates. Kyrie, Porzingis, and Grant. Grant left Dallas. All of a sudden, he's playing well again. Why do we think that is? Porzingis leaves Dallas, goes to Washington, has a career season, joins the Celtics, still putting up career high inefficiencies. Why do we think this is? Is it because Luka's so great? Probably not. It's probably because he's out there playing my career. And sure, there are plenty of times where he sets up his teammates with great assists. But when you are being asked to do absolutely nothing but hang out, it's not the easiest to just be like, okay, yep, I'm going to flip the switch. So maybe the reason why those teams aren't as good, or they would be down by 20 to 30 points, is because there is no alternate, even when the talent is there.
Also,
Jalen Brunson was on the Mavs.
What are we doing? We're pulling screenshots from ESPN from a year ago. What is like? Are we okay? What the fuck are we doing?
Nothing, Tatum turned up to win this game.
Yeah, this was Sixers game 6, right?
This was the night that had he not stepped up, they probably lose.
That's disgusting behavior. What else? What else do I got cooking up here? Let's see. We've got someone, Celtics fan, responding to, do you really think Luka would be able to handle taking 15 shots a game? Luka's play doesn't lead to winning. He makes his teammates worse, blah, blah, blah. I don't agree with all of this. I don't think Luka makes his teammates worse necessarily. I know you do, and we can differ on that point. I don't think it's true. Whatever. Regardless, Luka doesn't take 15 shots a game because he's not a 15 shots caliber player. He's a superstar. Tatum does because he's a glorified role player. This first sentence, first of all, Tatum does because he's a glorified role player. You're an idiot.
Tatum actually doesn't. He still takes, 23, 24 a game?
21. He's down to 21. Glorified role player is ridiculous. Shut the fuck up. 2, he's not a 15 shots per game caliber player. The fact that if you and or Luka, I don't know, whatever, Frank Burner, like, is that a Nidalakina thing?
Must be
whatever.
Frank.
Not a 15 shots per game caliber player. Players who care about their shots over winning is the problem, and if you can't see that, then you're a dumbass. That's the whole Luka point. Is I obviously think Luka is a phenomenal player, and I think I do at the same time. I think it takes a certain level or a certain mindset to be able to play with a guy like that. Do I think a guy like that can lead to winning? Yes, I do. He led his team to the conference finals. We've seen it a little bit. I think it's possible. You just got to get the right guys in there. I think it is easier to play with a guy like Tatum, 100%, because of his willingness to play off the ball, because of his I'm not saying Tatum's a better offensive player than Luka. I think Luka's a better offensive player than Tatum. He just is, because he's the hub and he does all that. But in terms of a teammate, I think if you ask most guys around the league, they'd rather play with a guy like Tatum.
Yeah, probably.
But it just depends on the mindset, though, because there are guys who are specific role players who okay, I'll play off ball, I'll do what I need to on defense, whatever. It's fine. The whole he's not a 15 shots per game caliber player is ludicrous and means your team only cares about feeding stats and not winning. And if you don't see that, then I don't know what you're talking about. And this isn't a shot at Luka. That's a shot at Frank Burner too, who's saying some dumb shit.
I do agree with the first point there, where do you really think Luka's in a sacrifice? I don't know. I'm not sure he's in a sacrifice. The sacrifice is a very underrated aspect of why Tatum is so important, because he could drag his feet and be like, I want to be the guy. I want an MVP. I want to be recognized as one of the best in the league, or the best guy in the league. Having
heard Luka talk and having heard him on podcasts and hearing him in post game, I don't think Luka is like that. I just think it is this play style the Mavericks have built for him to play in. If they brought in another star, I'm curious now. I wonder, has Luka's shots gone down this year with Kyrie in? Because I bet they will have, right? So I don't think this is all Luka. I think it is just that morons discourse, because they're watching two different styles of basketball. They're just built differently at the end of the day. The teams are just built in different ways. Well, Luka's actually taking more shots this game.
Where is Luka in the league in terms of usage rate? Or dribbles?
I don't think that's fair to knock Luka for that, though. Just I don't think it's fair to knock Tatum for taking 15 shots a game. I think it's about the team they have built. Look at the team the Celtics have built around the Celtics. They've built a team where Tatum doesn't have to do as much because they have so many great players. Look at the team the Mavericks have built around Luka. They brought in one star who can help take some off of it. But outside of that, it is Luka sets up his teammates. So, of course, he's going to have a higher usage rate. I don't think knocking Luka is fair. I think the people trying to knock Tatum for him playing in a completely different style of team is moronic. I think that's where the issue lies.
Well, he's playing on a team that plays the right way. He's playing on a team where they move the ball. They're able to diversify who the top scorer is, and that is a talent thing. But it is a mindset thing, too.
Yes, and I'm not saying you're wrong, but I don't think it's fair to knock Luka for that. That is literally the system the Mavs have built was Luka gets the ball, we play around that. If you want to knock the Mavericks for building the team the wrong way, sure, but I don't think it's fair to blame Luka for that because if he took, I mean, I guess to Frank's point, if he took 15 shots, they'd probably lose because that's the team they have built around Luka. Knock the Mavs for building the wrong type of team and not building a team that can play the right way. Don't knock Luka for playing within the system they have built for him. That's my thing.
I'm not convinced if you put Luka on the Celtics, they're a better team.
I don't think so either.
And not for nothing, Tatum plays defense.
I know. I agree. I think Tatum is a better player than Luka, and a lot of people are going to get mad at that. But I don't think it's fair to knock Luka for simply playing in the style that the team is built for him.
I just think it's funny that all the Luka fans came out today and were like, "Yeah, I hate Tatum."
I know. He's second in the league in usage rate, by the way.
Who's first? Trae Young,
Embiid.
Jokic,
Joel Embiid.
Embiid. Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, it goes Embiid, Luka, Giannis, Shea, LaMelo, Anthony Edwards, Donovan Mitchell.
It is remarkable to me that people on Twitter are bitching about the Celtics having a super team, and then we have Andrew in our comments telling us that Brad Stevens isn't a good GM. Which one is it?
You want to see something else crazy I saw? I don't know if you saw this. Do you see this? Read it for
Tatum
me.
is easily the better individual talent, but if the Celtics hypothetically offered Tatum for Brunson, do the Knicks say yes? Is the Pope Catholic? I hate this guy. I blocked this guy on Twitter, I think, and I have like no blocks. This guy tweets dumb shit to get engagement.
I know. Well, first he tweeted this: "You're starting an NBA team from scratch. Would you build around Brunson or Jayson Tatum?"
The one that won't be a target for teams in the playoffs.
The one that's 3-time first team All NBA. The one that's been to multiple Eastern Conference Finals and a Finals appearance. The one that's been the best player on a high level playoff team for multiple seasons. The one that is a phenomenal defender. The one that the one that's younger. First of all, another point. It's foolish. It's absolutely ridiculous. Of course, the Knicks would say yes. I can understand it from the perspective of we've talked about it. Like Brunson is a cult following guy in New York now, which respect. I like Brunson, but this is like bias out of the way. Like no fucking shit. Like of course you say yes. You kidding? What are we doing? What else do I got cooking up here? What other tweets?
What other brain damage was spread around the timeline today, Jack?
Yeah, there's this one from a Heat fan.
This ought to be good.
My official small forwards list, and then we can pick apart the list on a separate occasion because I think I see why the Heat fan got mad at this because having Butler in C tier is ridiculous. This tier list is horrible. First off, we can pick apart that, but someone saying motherfucker got Tatum on the same tier as Luka. Oh, and the dude who keeps beating, yeah, the Jimmy Butler thing valid. Jimmy Butler's A tier, S tier, whatever. Tatum on the same tier as Luka. Yeah, same tier as Luka. Also, Luka's not a fucking small forward. He's their point guard. As much as you hate, I know you dislike the point guard discussion. He acts functionally as their point guard, so he should be in the point guards thing, regardless of size. I don't think size dictates NBA position anymore. But yeah, I think Tatum is on the same level as Luka. Also, this tier list is horrendous. I don't even know where to start with the tier list. Even you can admit this tier list is fucking tragic.
Tier lists are stupid. I just think Tatum is a better team player than Luka. That's just what I think. And I think Tatum's a better team player than a lot of these guys that are towards the top of the league in terms of recognition. And it's really funny that people are like,
should we search Tatum?
Shame on Tatum for being able to acknowledge when somebody else is playing well or that his role needs to change that day. Like that's a big boy recognition thing from Jayson Tatum. Big read the room thing, which is what I beg for all the time. If you watch this show regularly, all I want is for him to read the room, and he's doing that. And now people online are like, this guy sucks because he reads the room.
Oh, I found a thread. I just searched Tatum. I found stuff. Let's see. Oh, yeah, this conversation was crazy. The Boston Celtics steamrolling through the league, and this is what they're talking about. Can Tatum outplay Butler, Giannis, and Embiid? Those are the guys, right? Hasn't he beaten every single one of them in a playoff series before?
I can understand putting Butler and Giannis on there.
Sure.
But Embiid, I mean, that man has never beaten the Celtics ever.
I know. And for what it's worth, yes, these two have beaten Tatum. Tatum's also beaten these two. So,
correct.
Like, what are we doing? Butler is the most valid one, and he's the worst of the three, with all due respect.
I can't wait for Jimmy to run out of steam because he's really the only one that you fear consistently.
There's also, let's see, there is, Tatum has eliminated all of them. all to lose every year, and the same happens. Who is this guy a fan of? Doesn't say. Shocker. Pennsylvania. He's a Philly fan.
Probably
NBA Finals appearances before the age of 26. Butler 0. Sure, the age thing's overrated at this point. Whatever. No one cares about his age. No one cares he made it to the finals. He didn't win, and to be honest, I'm not saying he's good. He's not good, but he ain't great. Every night he's shooting 10 for 30. Also not true. He's
not true.
He's having his most efficient season ever.
And I complain about the shots all the time. Just simply not true.
48-36 splits this year. Obviously, and then he cherry picks a 3-game span where he shot very well in one of them and had 2 off nights in the other 2, where even this is like not the worst shooting ever. like it's still like 40%. It's bad, but it's not like he shot 1 for 12. This so bad. It's so bad. I'm trying to find like other bad Tatum slander.
It's just
tweets.
like a conglomerate of people online being mad, and they're mad that people are like, maybe Tatum's an MVP. And I don't think Tatum's the MVP. And I
don't think
don't
so
care
either.
if he wins the award.
I don't
want
either.
them to win a championship. But
I don't think Tatum cares.
No, he definitely doesn't care, at least from what we hear. But to act like that, if he really was like, fuck it, I want to be the MVP, that he couldn't at least be there is ridiculous.
He averaged 30 last year on a good team. Like, I don't know what we're doing. And also, we're talking about Tatum doesn't care. I've seen a lot of people saying, wow, Tatum's really campaigning for this. No, the reason Tatum was talking about it was because people were holding something against him that happened 2 years ago, and he was angry. He was frustrated about it, which is valid. Like, no, that doesn't happen for other players. Like, what other player is getting knocked out of MVP conversations because something that happened 2 years ago? We're not hearing about, Jokic isn't the MVP because he got eliminated in the playoffs 2 years ago. We're not hearing Luka can't be the MVP because he's literally made it to the conference finals once and didn't even make the playoffs last year. We're not hearing Shea can't be the MVP because this is well, from the general public. We're not hearing Shea can't be the MVP because he didn't, he's never made it to the playoffs with the Thunder by himself, right? We're not hearing Embiid can't be the MVP because he's never made it past the second round of the playoffs in his entire career. We're not hearing, who else? Giannis can't be the MVP because he got bounced in the first one by an 8 seed last year. It's only Tatum, which is ridiculous. And you, one of Tatum's biggest critics, when you are saying people are crying too much, that's when you know people are crying too much.
They're just crying about dumb shit. Like, if you're going to cry about it, be like, well, like, he really isn't aggressive enough, and he was really inconsistent
Which he
for
has
2
been
months,
lately.
and I don't think he really put together a full season to win the MVP. If people are on there, like, repeating that take over and over again, I'd be like, yeah, fair. Like, he probably hasn't. But if you're like, yeah, he's not the MVP because Brad Stevens is good at his job, or like, it's not fair, Tatum has too many good players on the team. It's like, well, I don't know what you want out of him. Do you want him to be like, hey, Brad Stevens, don't make any moves to help our team be better? And also, people complaining about the Celtics being a super team, they've built this team the right way.
Mm-hmm.
They've built it through the draft. The 2 guys that are their best players were drafted. Last year's team was mostly homegrown, except for Al Horford and Derek White. And even those guys, Horford's been here forever. He's had 2 stints. And Derek White was traded for a year ago. He didn't jump ship to join the Celtics. It's not like the Celtics are like having, okay, LeBron, Dwayne Wade, Chris Bosh, you can form the Avengers with us if you want. Like, no, the Celtics are building in a similar style to the Warriors, which everybody hated the Warriors. But you can't point at the Warriors and be like, cheap. Like, no, they did it through the draft.
They were super teams. The Warriors were a super team. The Celtics team is probably the closest thing there is a super team in the league, but it's not like they did it by, like you said, like, yeah, come join the fellas. They traded for guys. They capitalized on opportunities. Shit, they got Porzingis and got draft capital in return in the trade for Porzingis. Sucks. Like they've made smart moves. Brad Stevens has done a great job penalizing Jayson Tatum and diminishing his accomplishments and what the team is doing because his GM put him in the best position possible to win is stupid. So stupid. And I know you disagree. I think Luka's a great player. I think Brunson's a great player. Like all these players that are being being compared, all of these players being compared to Tatum are good players. But you saying like, oh, they cleared Tatum because Tatum has a good team is just stupid. Like that's so dumb.
Yeah. I mean, Tatum, the rookie year case is probably the best argument there is. Like, he had to step up, thrust into a nearly impossible situation with the team's 2 star players that they built the team around going out with injuries. probably should have made the finals, took it to Game 7 of the Eastern Conference Finals against LeBron, a series that nobody thought they had a chance in, and they kind of choked it away. But he still got them there. And then every year since, they've really only underachieved 2-3 times. They've been to the conference finals almost every year. If any, I mean, when LeBron went to the conference finals or the finals every year, everyone was having a circle jerk, even though he was losing.
I'll put it this way: underachieving for Tatum is not winning a championship. Underachieving for Luka is missing the playoffs. That's the difference. Like let's call a spade a spade. And I think Luka's a great player. It's just, I don't know.
There's more pressure with the uniform, I guess. That's probably what it is.
Any final thoughts?
Quit crying.
Quit crying. Agree. Thank y'all for tuning in. We appreciate it. Make sure to like and subscribe, all that good stuff. Comment what's popping, and I'll let Sam take us home.
Hey, thank you very much for watching. Make sure you subscribe to the channel, hit the notification bell, leave a like, leave a comment, say what's popping, or tell us that we don't know ball, because I'm sure people will find this that aren't regulars and might not like what we just had to say. But if you subscribe, you'll get all of our daily content. We're coming at you full pods Tuesday, Thursday, Sunday, game recaps, any following day of a game, whether that is going to be embedded into a pod or a standalone, it'll be there. We're also doing Talkin' C's live Monday, Fridays. There are Talkin' C's videos that drop on Wednesday, and we'll be here no matter what. A half hour before every single game. We're here for the pregame streams. Come hang out. It's a blast. You can also find us on Spotify and Apple. If you do, you can follow us. You can get the full audio and full audio pods and game recaps right to your inbox. Leave us a nice 5-star review. If you're looking to get in touch with us, you can do so via email, hbtcpod@gmail.com. We respond. We read all of your emails on the podcast, and we do appreciate you reaching out. It's a ton of fun to hear from everybody. If you want to follow us on socials, at How About Them C's is the place to do it. For Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok, Facebook is just the name of the podcast. Our pregame streams are there and on YouTube and also on Twitter. Jack's Twitter's at Jack's Mon NBA. Mine's at Sam LaFrance NBA. That's it for us. Bye.
Taco, come on.
Taco's having some fun here.
That is bogus! These guys are ridiculous!